All right, so where do I want to go with this one? I want to talk about preconceived notions in relationships, or getting into a new relationship and assuming you know what it'll be, especially before you get to know the person. Every single one of us is so completely unique and special. So, how do you take the perception that you were ingrained with as a child, or your friends, or your past relationships, and not bring chains of how you assume a relationship should be by what you've seen with you, and yet still being thankful of where you come from, because where you come from shows where you've grown from and how strong you've become and who you are now. So, all right, so let's go back to childhood. When you're young, you have a natural connection to spirit, to God. Children are they're born innocent, and then they're ingrained with the lessons as they get older. So they're one way naturally, and then they're told to be something different because you have to fit into society or fit into the what makes your parents happy, so you don't feel abandoned, or like you're not loved, or you're not heard, or you're protected from being hurt. So when you go into a relationship, these like primal points of your emotions will come up, whereas maybe if you were just living the hermit life, or the loner life, or having time to figure out who you are yourself, and not so worried about intimate relationships with others, even though it is going to find its way into your life in some way or form. But when you're intimate with someone, these primal fears come up. And rather than see a reflection of the mirror of what your inner workings are in your daily life and yourself, if you're only by yourself, you see your mirror in the other person. So if you're with somebody that brings out things that you love in that person, the things that you love in yourself, if you find yourself irritated by somebody, those are usually the things in yourself you also find irritating. It's a mirror. So when you're with somebody intimately, you're hitting these primal emotions like security and abandonment and love and fears, living up to the potential and the expectations put upon you, all the restrictions and the chains and the rules put upon you by somebody else all of a sudden are in your life, but they don't have to be, is my point. That's just what you were taught. That's what you're taught to believe a relationship is what you saw. It doesn't have to be. Because every relationship you begin, you have a chance to make it exactly what you want. You know, hopefully, we're hoping that energetically you're stepping into something with somebody who is energetically similar to you and wants the same things, but there's fear and there's love, and those are two opposite extremes. The only thing to fear about love is not experiencing it, not having it, and getting to the end of your life and saying, I should have. Because you can always step into something and leave, or step out, or change if it's not what you want, to move on. Use the experience to know what you don't want now. Say thank you to the person and leave with love and say, thank you for that time in my life, because what I learned with you, I really needed to know about myself. And I have to be true to myself and you by knowing that maybe this about you is not for me, but I am only eternally grateful for you coming into my life for this time and helping me to realize that. And maybe there's something that you helped them with too. So that's leaving a relationship. Now, stepping into a new one, if you're going to bring something with you, bring what you learned and what you're thankful for having and what you know now that you can recognize and not get stagnant in if it changes. So now if you're in a new place and you see maybe the same thing is starting to come up, you have the chance to react differently. You have the chance to react differently. So rather than starting to do the blame game or whatever it is your typical fall to is, know what you want to be different and explain that and why you come from where you come from and why you want to be different to the other person so they know where you're coming from. And now perhaps if the situation occurs again, you can take a different perception upon it. And we live in a new time. Nothing has to be what we've been told. You don't have to meet someone and expect that that person wants to get married to you. Perhaps they never want to get married at all, but they want to live a life of happiness every single day until the point when the two of you want to change. And maybe each day you go, you find that you might want that too. Or maybe not, but to not take the chance with somebody because you think they're different. Maybe the differences in you can be what make you amazingly different. Rather than be scared of the differences, perhaps when you get closer to someone and you see where their differences are coming from, then when there's two different energies that come together, you can create something brand new. So who's anybody else in the world to say what that is that you can create with somebody else? Whatever's right for you, whatever schedule works for you, however often you want to see each other, however often you want to call each other or do things with one another. It doesn't have to be what you had before. Maybe it didn't work before. So don't continue to do it like you're insane. Take the opportunity. Don't run from love, because later in your life, that'll be what you regret, not taking the chance. You know, we all need to put our big girl pants and big boy balls on sometimes and just take a step into the unknown. You know, like Indiana Jones when he steps out onto the ledge and there's nothing there, and when he takes one step, the step appears. The answer appears once you take one step forward. Not taking one step forward and